Yeah, let's. Can we have a nice Huey intro going with some nice music? And then we have our picture icon thing, kind of like a fade in with some nice music
Yeah,
stuff. That would be really nice. And then yeah, let's get right into it. Welcome to Invicta Libertas, where freedom reigns and conversations soar. I'm Vald, and
I must.
bro, why did you take so long to
The
say a name
pause is
like
important. The
you-
pause is important.
the pause is important?
Nigga,
Wow,
on the set with Darth Vader, before he says, "Look, I am your father," he has like a pause. It's important.
bro.
We're leaving this
If you
bit
just
in, by the way.
fine. And together we are navigators through this untamed seas of ideas and perspectives. Join us as we explore the uncharted territories of thought, challenge the status quo, and embrace the liberating power of open discourse. Get ready for unbridled conversations and a dash of rebellious wit. This is Invicta Libertas, the podcast where freedom finds its voice. That is such a dramatic, powerful, like embracing ass intro.
That's like something a freaking tyrant would say when he wants to liberate the people.
Yeah, like anyway, let's get right into it. And
By the way,
on the topic,
we
yeah,
found
you go
that.
first.
By the way, we found that introduction on dictators101.com.
Dictate this one. We talk about freedom, but we're talking about Dictators 101. Wow. Listen, on the topic of freedom, right?
Yeah,
Um, how would you feel if your, like, say, spouse, right,
yeah.
just out of nowhere started acting all controlling and defensive? How would you start feeling about that?
I can only speak from like a male point of view. Because obviously I'm not a female and I don't inspire to be
Identify
one.
as one?
I don't inspire to be one. If she started being controlling all of a sudden, well then I would have speculations because no one just becomes something out of the blue. Like
Exactly.
where there's smoke, there's fire.
Yeah, and like on that note, where there is smoke, there is fire, like you said, you'd become more curious of what the hell, like, why you suddenly so controlling? Why you suddenly so up in my business? Why you suddenly want to know what I'm doing? You would start to think something, right?
Exactly, most definitely.
But no, not this guy. This guy, right, decides that no, his girlfriend is perfect. She can do no wrong. She can do nothing that is like tainted, nothing. She's just a perfect, perfect, perfect. Now she can literally do nothing wrong in his eyes. Until he started talking with his friends. And you know how word of mouth is, things spread fast. So what had happened was he was talking to his friends, and he told his friends that all of a sudden his girlfriend started acting controlling. She's getting like out of hand. She's making like constantly asking him where he's going, where he is, what he's doing, all these different kinds of things. And one of his friends actually hinted at the fact that people only start acting like that when they feel guilty.
Oh, yeah, yeah, it's like a defense mechanism. That's actually a good. That's a good. That's a might be one of a good point. That might be a good point.
And when he brought this up to him, and it was like a whole thing of, oh no, what would she be guilty of? What are you accusing her of? What could she possibly have done wrong?
Oh, he got defensive.
Yeah, he got defensive, and then they hit him with reality, and they were like, what if she cheated? Like, I get the fact that he's like fully committed to his goal and he's like not letting anyone put doubt in his mind and everything. But same day that he had that conversation with his friends, he started doubting her. And that's when he started like investigating, going through her phone, tracking her locations and things.
Oh, that's a bit too far, my G.
Because he's obsessive as well. I should have said that. He's a bit obsessive. And well, we all know how this story ends. One thing led to another. He found out she was cheating. He found out was crazy. Was crazy though.
How did you find out? I'm
Imagine
interested
waking
now.
imagine waking up, checking or turning over, checking your partner's phone, seeing that she's getting a message at 3 o'clock in the morning. You grab her phone, look at the chats, and you just see there from this random ass Nengen, thanks for last night, really enjoyed it. But tell me when you're coming over again so that I can be more prepared. How do you respond to that? Plus it wasn't just a message plain, it had emojis on it.
You know what? At that point, I feel like as a man, like we've all been not been at that exact point, but we've all been at that point. And if you haven't been at that point, you're either smart, you have good ears, or you haven't reached that point yet, or you're just an introvert, so you don't take calls. But the main point is, at that point, you're going to feel hurt. But the whole thing is, it's done now. Like, what? There's no point in arguing. What are you going to argue with her about? The evidence is there, and women are very defensive. She's going to spin that whole story around. So it's like, what's the point? Is
And as you say, through and through, she did. She started attacking him. She got defensive. She was like, "You don't give me this kind of attention anymore. You don't treat me the same way.
why did
Ever
you look
since we
through my
started staying
phone?
together, it's all these different things that she keeps throwing at him, shooting at him, and all these things. One thing led to another. They eventually broke up. They don't talk anymore in a sense, which is good, right?
Yeah, they shouldn't talk anymore.
But in that same note, here's another couple, not similar-ish situation, but I would say similar. So this couple is basically talking, but they reached their breakup point, right?
Yeah.
They decided that they were going to end things all fairly, right? Like the one was just going to be guy. Actually, it was suggested by the guy. He was just saying that he's going to leave her. He thinks it's about time that they break up. Um, they don't. He's not. He doesn't feel like he's growing in this relationship. He doesn't feel like he's going anywhere career-wise and like in the relationship. He feels very stuck, stagnant.
Midlife crisis vibes.
Midlife crisis vibes. He feels like he's constantly giving all of his attention to her and he isn't really allowed time to tend to himself, get to his own things that he wants to do. And apparently, he dropped his hobbies, he dropped his interests, he dropped his friends, also that he can full time commit to her. And boy, oh boy, did she not like that. She went away for a 4 day holiday with other people. Apparently, it's colleagues, work colleagues, or something along the lines of that,
I don't trust
work
that
friends
for a
and stuff.
second. I don't trust that. I'm not even in the relationship with her, but I don't trust that.
And on this 4 days away, a week away, she meets another guy. They start talking and everything. And I think it was guilt that got to her because she apparently messaged the guy that she was with, her boyfriend, and told him that, look here, I like this guy. And I'm having mixed feelings. So the guy was like, how can she have mixed feelings when the two of them are supposed to be loyal to each other? They're not supposed to like, where did all the loyalty go? You're telling me you're going to drop me for this guy that you just met.
I don't see it. Like it's people don't see it. Like it was at that point, no, it became her obligation to be loyal, even if she fell in love with someone else. Because let's be honest, love is just an emotion. It doesn't carry on, right? You're not
Love is
gonna
only a feeling.
it's only a feeling. You're gonna love someone, marry them. You can't possibly tell me that the love is gonna stay there unless you do things to like increase the love, like maintain the love, right? But most majority of the time, I bet this like I'm willing to argue 80% of marriages is loveless, but they still carry on because they married and they owe responsibility to each other and to their children if they have. That bro, that guy, he sacrificed all of that. And yes, even he was having now doubt and second thoughts, but he still did all of that. It still doesn't like remove all the stuff he did. And then now she's like telling him she have mixed feelings. Like that,
It's kind of understandable because it's like, yes, they were in their breakup phase, and he was telling her that he was going to leave her and all these things. So, in that same sense, it's like you guys are in the breakup process and you guys are leaving
mm,
each other. So, her finding someone else, technically, you have no right to do
yeah,
or say anything about it.
I see your point. Yeah, I see your point.
But
Yeah,
then
you don't.
again, it's like you guys are still sorting things out. So that puts you in like a limbo kind of position in your relationship.
He was still deciding if he was going to change the locks on the doors. But she outright came and said, no, no, I have a new key.
Not even a new key, a new house, bro.
I have a new house. Oh, not like I laugh at your imagine that. That's terrible, my God. That's like just imagine like how she felt at the time when he said that, and then how he feels when she tells him about the mixed feeling. Oh,
It's like a whole like indecisive ass kind of thing, you know? It's indecisiveness coming from him as the guy and from her as the girl, because like he was the one that initially said he wanted to leave her, and then he wants to come and hit her with a sideline of how can you have moved on so fast and we not done, you know? But it's like he's putting her in limbo. He's women already can't be put in a limbo state, and he's forcing his girl into a limbo state.
once they like not even their foot, once their pinky toe is on the market, forget about it. Forget about it.
My biggest fear is getting into a, and I don't mean this, I don't say this in a sense of like, oh no, I'm targeting all these people and I'm targeting them and I'm saying no, they don't deserve the right and all these things. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, oh, I haven't even gotten to the part of saying it, but I'm already giving disclaimers.
Well, you have to give disclaimers because one thing about the internet, people like putting words in your mouth. They like using their own perception to determine what you said, but you didn't say it in that way, in that context.
We can touch up on the topic of perception in a minute, but my thing is, I won't date someone that has a social media presence.
I feel you on that. No, I feel you on that.
If
I feel
I'm
you on
looking for a if I'm looking for a girl that I'm going to marry, a woman that I'm going to commit to, that I'm going to get involved in my company, in my business, in my family, in my friend group, I don't want you to be on a platform where multiple other men have access to you, can talk to you. You understand?
I get what you mean.
And
Especially,
it's not, it, it doesn't come from an insecure kind of place. Like, don't get me wrong, it doesn't come from a place of insecurity.
no, it comes from being a man and understanding.
Yeah, it comes from more like knowing, like, if there is a way that I can get to her, then I'll take it. It's that kind of
Yeah.
mindset, you know?
And as men, like like you and I as men, we understand. We're not at the pinnacle. We'll be sure to get there. Don't worry, we're working on that. But we know as we are, we're not on the pinnacle. Yeah, we're funny, we're good looking, come on now. But we're not
Yeah.
at that pinnacle where we can just say, yeah, here's 100,000, go do something.
Like people say money. Another thing, people say money isn't everything. Well, I beg to disagree.
Money is everything, honestly. Well, I won't say everything, but money is most things.
Money is 90% of life. Let me rather put it like this. Money is 75% of life.
It's everything, my guy. It's literally everything.
If you tell me your life can't move forward, it can't go backwards. Well, it can go backwards, but you lose everything if you don't have money. And when people say they lost everything, well, they're referring to money.
When people say they lost everything when they have money, they are referring to money. Because everyone knows when everyone, you can just imagine it. Once you get that large sum of money, you don't lose people. You gain people you've never met in your life. That auntie's distant cousin, you know them now, and they know you now
Why? Because you have money.
because you have money.
People are so focused on the evils and the bad things that money does, that money can make you do. It's like, that is true, yes, but why aren't we looking at the good things?
No,
Like
no,
being
no. I
able to,
second that. No, no, I second that. Money is not evil. Money is an item. Money is a thing. What you do to get the money or what you do with the money depends on the person.
it's like,
Because money is desire like everything else. Every item is desire. You can
true.
have it. What you do with it, that depends on person. Because look, there are people that have a lot of money. There's two sides. People have a lot of money. How is it that some millionaires donate millions to charity every year and do good stuff, build schools and all of this, and they have, and then you have the other side who has this even more amount of money, but they don't do that stuff. They do worse stuff.
And now, like I said, I want to touch up on perception because it's like, let's look at perception, right? Perception, your reality is limited to your perception. I think I'm quoting Itachi from Naruto here. Um,
Yes, you are. I
your
remember that.
reality is limited to your perception, right? How you perceive things. So I can pay an assassin to kill a high state official, right? And I'm the bad guy for it. What I did is wrong. I am evil for what I did. The person that shot the bullet is evil for what he did, right?
Yes, I'm with you.
That is how it is. That's plain facts. That's what happened. Now we look at it from the people's angle. Oh, he's a murderer. He killed a state official. He's a bad guy. Then we look at it from my angle. Why did I do it? The state official was corrupt. He was smuggling drugs into the country. He was increasing the taxes in certain areas, money laundering, all these kinds of things. So I took it into my own hands, played the assassin, and he killed the state official.
You know why people don't want to get into that? Because it requires thinking power, and people don't want to think. Dave Chappelle says an interesting thing. He says that people that they want to replace good and bad with better and worse. Because if it's better and worse, people don't have to think about it. When it's good and bad, you have to think about it. For example, okay, so he's bad because he killed the state official. Okay. They don't want to think about it because, granted, what he did was bad because he committed murder. But also, he saved people that was under the tyranny of the politician. So you see what I mean? So there's confliction, so you have to think about it. And people don't want to think about it. People will rather point at that guy and say he's the bad guy.
100%. They will look at him, people are very, they claim to be like woke, deep, deep thinkers, overthinkers. Oh no, I'm this kind of introvert, I'm that kind of introvert. But when it comes down to the nitty gritty, you don't.
Mhm.
You don't. Because war inherently is bad. And hear this, I know I'm going to get flamed for this,
It doesn't really matter. The reason our channel
but
is called Invictus Libertas,
the Libertas,
Google what it means in Latin. Google what it means in English as Latin.
please go Google Invicta Libertas. However, the war between, I think it's Palestine and Israel, right?
Yeah.
It's a load of bullshit. Why are we striking in the name of Palestine? Why are we fighting and supporting in the name of Palestine? Why are we continuing the war when war itself is wrong? In this
Yes.
sense, being subjective and taking the objective view of it, why aren't we doing that? Why are we looking like
Yeah. Because
overall this war is bad, people are dying, let's stop it?
let's
Why are we
just
still supporting one side? Why are we taking a side? Why don't we just overall stop it completely?
because there is no strikes that say stop the war. There's strikes that say stop the genocide in Israel, stop the genocide in Palestine, stop this organization, stop that organization, stop the war. But there's no protest that just says stop the war and please stop killing people. Can't we talk about this like civilized human beings?
And here's another thing, like you mentioned now about the better and worst. Okay, let's take the better and worse approach. It would be better in this sense if they wiped each other out, but it would be worse if one wiped the other out.
Yeah,
Wouldn't it be better if they both just got rid of each other at the same time?
yes,
That would put an end to all of it,
but it
but it
doesn't
would be
make it good.
worse. It doesn't make it good, yes, but it would be worse if one was still left.
It would be much worse. Because what happened? Okay, so if the war continues, one wipes out the other, like I mean, completely wipes out the other. Okay, then what happens? Do you then now conquer the land and that becomes part of your country? Or do you allow them to redevelop but under your supervision? Because, like,
Because now it's a case of, I can see where you're going with that, and now it's also a case of the remaining people, those that are left over after you wiped everyone out. Are you now going to oppress those people,
yes.
enslave those people, kill those people even?
Or are you gonna
What are
also
you doing next?
are you also not going to expect that people to come back for vengeance? Because that's how it works. An eye for an eye makes the world go blind. So then, exactly, where does it really end?
Because now it's a case of what are we doing? Where are we going? What's the end goal? What is the purpose?
I feel like the people have gotten too emotional about this. Because look, I am not of any I do not belong to any religious faith of either country. I am not a Palestinian. I'm not an Israeli. So I do not
Likewise, I'm
have,
not a
yeah.
Palestinian. I am not Israeli.
So we don't have emotional attachment, right? So yes, we see humans dying, and I don't know. For me, as a human, seeing a human die, it's like, for me, it's just like I can't believe that, especially innocent, like innocent people. Well, I don't know what the people did, but according to the news, they are innocent, so let's just take that at face value, okay? Especially when innocent people die, it's like if you don't get the same emotional if you were part of that or if you were following that religion, but you still feel like, oh, it's like you get that feeling. So I do understand why these people are so emotional. I do get it. Because in their eyes, it's like their religious brothers and sisters. I get that. But if you just follow emotion all the time, you're not gonna get to a good place. Anger and rage blinds the mind, the soul, and the heart. So we need to think
And
logical about this. Like you were saying, where does it end?
yeah, where do we stop? And the thing is also, if we choose to continue, what do we do next? Because here's my thing. Let's say everybody's in support of Palestine. We wipe out the Israeli. What if Russia decides to support Israel?
What if it
This is
starts
just
to
an example.
escalate? Yeah. What if it starts
This
to
is just an
escalate?
example. Or for example, let's take maybe America or some other country or some other continent even. What if all those countries unite and take a front and standing and they act in support of Israel? And what next? Are we now going to wipe out all those people that are defending Israel? Are we going to continue to take more innocent lives for the sake of this war and proving a point?
Honestly, because I can see, I can see if they wipe each other out or if they continue fighting. There's only parts the the endings are all terrible because look, if you wipe out if Israel wipe out Palestine, Palestine wipe out Israel, and they wipe out to the point where the other country waves the white flag, they surrender. Okay. And they don't decide to oppress the people that are surrendering. You do know when time comes that people is going to cause another uprising because, well, they've seen all of this. The children have seen all of this. The next generation have seen all of this, and children's minds are like monkey see, monkey do. Like they, when they're young, they're like a mirror basically. They see you doing all of these things, and then they automatically label you as an enemy. And then these children grow up, and then they start creating movements, and that movement initiates another war. So there is no happy ending. And I'm not asking for a happy ending. I'm just asking for an ending where we don't see so much people dying. Because yes, the death toll might be more on one side. Okay. But that does not excuse the fact that people are dying on the other side as well.
And that doesn't excuse the fact that people are continuing to die from both sides.
Yes.
So that's just our take on the whole Israel and Palestine war.
It's a means to what
And
end?
yeah, the question is, what's the end goal? What's the purpose? And once we achieve those goals, what do we do next? Are you going to, are you telling me that you are going to celebrate the fact that you guys continued to kill
Yeah.
thousands,
You're
millions of
gonna
people?
celebrate the fact that you survived, you got revenge, but at the cost of that, you murdered thousands of people.
So yeah, let's move on.
Yeah, let's just
Like
move.
you said, um, uh, to that comparison you made, a child is like a mirror.
Yes.
I like that, but I think a better comparison or
Better
a
reference.
child is like a bowl of water, right?
Yes.
And everybody that a child meets is like a drop of dye, each person possessing their own color and dropping the droplet of dye into this child's bowl of water, right? And eventually, the mixture of all these drops makes this child's color and makes who this child is.
Can we copyright that quote?
You wanna copyright that? Oh my
You heard
days!
it,
You
ladies
mean
and gentlemen. You heard it here first.
you heard it here first on on Invicta Libertas. You heard it here first. Um, but
Yes,
yeah,
but
like
that
I was
is a
saying,
brilliant. That is a brilliant. That's a brilliant assist. That's a brilliant way to put it.
thank you for that actually. But yeah, like I was saying, everybody that this child meets eventually influences the child. Now, on that note, would it be wrong for me to want to control my child's environment and limit the people that my child interacts with, at least until the point where this child develops his own personality, morals, principles, goals, and standards, and has a very strong sense of self? Am I wrong for wanting that for
You know,
my kid
you know
or
it's not wrong
children?
because people have arguments about this, but what they don't understand is that it's your child. You clothe, you clothe that child. You put clothes on his back, his her back. You put food in front of that child. You make sure that child goes to bed. You make sure that child washes. You and your partner, of course, I want people to rage. You make sure that your child is safe and protected and taken care of. Even if it comes at your cost. Like even if you have to stress all the time and even if you have to spend all this money, you still do it because it's your child. And you put all that effort in because it's your child, right? So you should you should be able to determine your child's values, who your child is going to become. Not saying you must enforce it, because well, enforcing is it's stupid in entirely. Like enforcing a child to do something is just stupid. But it's your child, so you would want your child because something my mother always said, life is war. Life is war. And people have this misconception that they're just raising children. No, you're not raising children, you're raising soldiers. Because when they come of age, they move out, they in life itself, they in war because they have to deal with all of these things. And you have to equip your child to deal with all of those things. So I say it's not wrong because also the schooling system in itself is trying to indoctrinate out indoctrinate children. You're telling me a school has that right. The government has that right. But me as a parent, I don't have that right.
That is actually something that you're saying there. It's how come every other aspect of my child's life, every other person that my child meets gets to influence my child, basically guide my child down a path, and me as the parent doesn't have that same right? When and where did I lose this rights? What happened and when did I agree to this?
You know,
So on
the
on that as
lines,
well,
the lines is
on
being
that as
blurred
well,
very much.
it's another thing of not just boys, not just boys, but or sons, daughters as well. When did fathers lose the right to influence their daughters' ideals, their daughters' principles, standards, values? When did they lose the right to influence that?
You know,
When did they lose the right to decide that even?
you know when I felt like, you know when that came in? It's because people look at the parent, the child's mother as a mother. If it's a daughter, if it's a girl, they look at the daughter's mother as a mother. But when they look at the father, they look at the father as a man. He's no longer a father. If it's a son, no, then he's a father. But if it's a daughter, then he's not a father. Then he's a man. You understand the difference in the referencing?
Yeah, I can. I don't think I'll. I don't think the viewers will understand that one much, or the listeners will understand
Okay,
that
let
one
me
much.
explain.
But yeah, rather break it down for them.
So what I'm saying is that because what I'm saying is when it's a when it's a girl, when it's a daughter, the people look at the mother as a mother. Oh, she's the mother of the child. She is loving and caring. She's taking care of the child. But they don't look at the father as a father. They don't look at the father as he takes care of his child. He looks after. He's a father. He nurtures his child. He protects his child. They look at the father as a man. Oh, he's just a man. He could do all types of things because she's a girl. What in what world are you people living in?
And the quote or the saying that goes around, that's passed around a lot, is the only things that are loved unconditionally are pets and women and children. That is true.
Yes.
However, listen, men are or only cared for unconditionally when they can provide something. That is another thing that is very true.
Yes.
But the point that I'm trying to get to is men nowadays or these days have lost a lot of
They've
their
lost their balls.
self-respect. They've yeah, like they've
They've lost their
lost their,
balls.
their self-respect, they've lost their honor,
They lost their
they
dignity as a man.
they lost their dignity as a man. I know pride is a well, that's sensitive topic for most, but they lost their pride as a man, you know?
Yeah,
And
they basically lost everything that God gave us as men. He
and
gave us that
why
pride and that honor as a
why
man.
would they take away this pride? Why would they take away this rights in a sense? And the time that we come from, Mouse, let me rather say it like this: the time that me and Mouse come from is a time where, or we currently, or I should say rather, where we stay and how we were raised. We were surrounded by a lot of single, independent mothers.
Yes.
They would go to work and look after their child and raise their child, nurture their child, teach their child morals, values, and standards.
Beat the
Right.
living hell out of their children.
Beat the living hell out of their children on a daily,
We
yes.
should we should touch on that
But
topic as well, by the way, later.
we should touch up on that. But these kids still learn principles, morals,
Mm.
standards, and they have their own set of values. And it's like this is what we were surrounded by. But the women in less than 5, 6 years have switched so much from that standing. The woman that we were surrounded by, or the in our area, our local area, it's like we don't we don't see a, how can I now say,
They don't like.
we haven't seen a woman fight for child support. And it's not like they couldn't, it's not like they didn't have that option to. It's the woman that we were surrounded by, that was in our lives, and the woman we knew and in our area and where we live and stay, they are stronger,
They are strong.
way
They would
stronger.
say straight, even if, as a single mother, even if you would offer money, they would say, no, it's fine. No, it's fine. They would say straight, I'll take care of my child. It's such a, like, that's why the world just looks so different to us. Like, when it comes to women, it's so different to us because, look, we were raised by strong, independent women. Like, when I look at my mother, I'm like, I need to get a wife like that. Like someone who is like strong and independent, but still have the capability of relying on others as well.
Yeah, and here's another thing. This whole thing of a hoe phase and all these, we can touch up on that later because that in and of itself is a very sensitive topic. But the point of the matter is, these women that we speak about or talk about weren't just focused on looking after their kids. They did more than that. They had their own lives. They went out. They did their own things. They weren't hoeing around. They weren't dating multiple men. They held everything down. Most of them that we know are married already or again, and previously it might have been their fault for the divorce. But the point of the matter is, they stood on their own, dependent on none, were able to raise their own kids, look after themselves, and have a life. Women then are stronger than the woman now.
Much stronger. Because I don't know where this perception came from that as a woman you need to go through a whole phase. I never understood that. Because even as a small boy, I always understood that, look, that's not the woman I'm looking for. I don't care how beautiful you are, how intelligent you are, how good you are at speak. That's just not what I'm looking for. I'm sorry. And I'm not degrading anyone. It's just like, how can you have self-respect for yourself at that point? Like me as a man, right, I wouldn't just go out and sleep with a bunch of women just because. Like, yeah, it would be cool as a man, but it just doesn't feel right. Like it's just like at that point, oh, you would be asking yourself, oh, what am I doing here?
Another thing that we should look at when it comes to gender equality is a guy, yes, can be with multiple women, sleep with multiple women, and he will be praised and seen in a good light by
Yeah.
the public and social media and all these things, but that isn't the right path for a man. You are supposed to have one wife. A woman is supposed to have one man. That is the life, that is the path. It might,
It's
it's very difficult, and it's not possible in this time.
it's
Yes.
not.
Well, I wouldn't say not possible. It is possible. It's just very difficult, or rather difficult.
Yes.
But I want the point of the matter is I want them to understand that that is the righteous path that you should take. Tainted by none, touched by none.
Do you know how? I don't want to say that, but you know, look, I don't want to say this in this many words, but do you know how valuable a woman is who hasn't been touched? Like,
I do. And the point that I'm trying to say is the same can be said for a man.
the
You know
same
how
can be
valuable
said
a
for men.
man would be who hasn't been touched, who isn't tainted, who isn't corrupted and can't be tempted. That man is just as valuable or even more valuable than a woman who is
Be-
untainted, untouched.
because in today's world, it's very like it's incredible to find a man that has a body count of zero. Like in the age group of about 17 and up, it's incredible to find like a guy like that. Like not just his body count is equal, like he hasn't had any interaction with women, but with this clause though that he could have he had
Yeah,
access.
we're not talking about, oh, the shy introverted gamer guy that never goes outside and doesn't touch grass. No, we're talking about the guy that goes out there, achieves his goals, works himself up, focuses on what he's supposed to, does the right thing, but at the same time has access to women, just doesn't go for it, that just doesn't use them for that. Surrounds himself by women, yes, but never sleeps with them, isn't tainted by them, isn't tempted by them. Now do you understand it?
It's very like that's a very righteous man if you think about it. Not saying he doesn't do things wrong, but that is a very righteous man. Because I feel
Because
like
in my eyes, the strongest man or the most respected man in the world is a man that can kill and can show unconditional kindness and love to any and everyone.
that's like the
So,
saying goes. The strongest
so
man is the strongest man needs to be a warrior in a garden, not a gardener in a war. What that means is you must have the capability. Jordan Peterson talks about this, and I quite agree with him. You have to have the capability of destruction. You have to have the
oh,
capability of chaos and destruction, but you have to have the peace within you to not do it.
you have to have the ability to be evil, but the ability lies, or the strength comes from controlling that and not
Yes,
being able to do it, but not doing it.
yes, that's exactly that. That's the most strongest man, honestly. And from personal experience, I could promise you, getting there, it's very difficult. Like we are talking, but a bit of a bit of personal note, we on that path as well. We've
I
seen things, we've been through certain things, and we understand that it's not easy by any stretch of the imagination.
That is true. On that note, I agree with you. We we are on that path of like growth, and I'm not gonna say that we are like this from birth. We've always been on this path. No, we haven't.
No,
We haven't. We I wouldn't talk about. I don't necessarily think we have the right to talk as if, oh no, we've made millions and all these
oh no,
things.
I assure you that that's not the case.
That's not the case. We're not some overly rich, overly powerful influencers that is now starting a podcast and is here to
No,
preach to
no, no,
those
no, no.
who we view or revere as below us. No.
In fact, this podcast is us learning alongside you. Because everything we say here, it's what we feel and what we believe in now. But beliefs can change. We can change as people. So ultimately, this podcast is us growing together on certain topics and on our own very personal level.
And it's more about, you'll see this on our banner, or our, how do you say it, banner slash
Yeah,
logo, or
YouTube
our
banner.
cover page. You'll see it on our cover page basically. We have a quote from this, I can't pronounce the name, I'm butchering it. Conquer yourself rather than the world. And that is what we are working on, and that is what we are talking about and want to pass on to our listeners, viewers, whether it be YouTube or in other forms of media.
I
And
don't.
another thing that we also want to make guys aware of is we are Invicta Libertas. We want you guys to be able to speak freely,
Yeah,
talk
we
open,
want.
be open about it.
Our main point is we want you to think. Like, there's a lot of people that read things or see things or watch a short clip and that's their perception. They immediately with the point. No, I want you to think about something. Sit on it, think about it, do some research. I'm not saying spend hours putting notes up and all. No, 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 no. I'm saying just do a bit 5 minutes. Just do a bit of research. Think. Because I can tell you that the downfall of the world is when people stop thinking, when they believe everything at face value.
And you lose yourself when you stop thinking about yourself. It's very confusing, yes. It, in a way, does not make any sense to the
No,
average
in many ways
person.
it doesn't make sense to the average person.
It doesn't make sense to the average person, but listen to what I'm saying. You lose yourself when you stop thinking about yourself. You lose yourself when you stop caring about yourself.
Self is important. There is so much things that talks about first focus on yourself. Rumi has a saying, I think it's Rumi that has a saying, yesterday I was smart, so I wanted to change the world. Today I am wise, so I'm starting by changing myself. Michael Jackson says it, I'm changing the man in the mirror. Lil Wayne says it, I'm starting with the man in the mirror. There's a saying that also goes, once the enemy within is defeated, all the enemies outside disappears. Because you are your main enemy in everything. Oh, you are lazy? Yes, you are your enemy. You're not disciplined? You are your enemy. Everything you give into desire, you are your enemy. You are the cause for majority of your own problems.
75% of everything that happens in your life is your own
Honestly,
fault.
you hate
Because
someone. You hate someone. You think they're your enemy, they're not. Why do you hate that person?
there's
Jesus
another
loved
thing.
everyone, to be honest. So,
Another thing is, you, like we mentioned, your reality is limited to your perception. You influence your reality. You limit yourself. You set a cap on your abilities. You pave your own road.
thinking is a very powerful thing. People, you have to believe in the fact that what you think will come to reality. Now, I don't mean if you think about a freaking Pirates of the Caribbean ship, it's going to appear in front of your house. No, not talking about that. I'm talking about as person. If you think you are terrible at something, if you think that you're not good enough, if you keep on having these thoughts, well, then the chances are high that you're not going to be good enough. I'm sorry. all the best people in the world have this in any sport or in any field of business or they have this thing. They have this one thing in common that they are almost insane because they believe they're the best. Regardless of what is happening, they believe they're the best. They manifest that into reality. You need to first control your mind. Now, a lot of people say control your mind, and a lot of people, it just goes over most people's head. To control your mind means, to control your mind, you need to control every aspect of it. Why do you do the things that you do? That's a simple question. Look at your life, look at the month of your life. Why do you do what you do? One of the curses of humanity is that we do the things we don't want to do. We do these we do these things that these shameful, these hateful things that we didn't want to do.
all because we were influenced to do so. Outside exterior forces that we allowed in, that we allowed to make decisions for us.
That's manipulation. The You know what manipulation is? Manipulation is a person cutting off everyone else. Everyone else. You don't listen to anyone else. That's what manipulation is when a person cuts off everyone else around you. So you only listen to them. And when you listen to one person and he says enough stuff, you start doing that stuff.
Here's another thing on manipulation. When you are the target and you are being manipulated, again, you lose your sense of self. You don't doubt what this person is saying. You don't try and do different. You don't try and go against this person out of fear, out of love, because you care for them, out of guilt, regret. These are all things that they use as to get a hold on you, to have that hold on you, that footing, to have that power over you, control.
It's amazing, honest. It's not amazing. It's very interesting, really. Like, when you just look at just look, I don't claim to be smart. I don't claim any of those. Please don't put that over my head. It's just when I look at people and when I talk to people and they tell me these things and all of this, and I think because once again, I'm also not perfect in any scale or metric. I would like to believe I am, but sadly and truthfully, I'm not. But when I see all of these things, it just makes me think like, what are we doing as people? Like as humans, what are we doing? We're making an absolute mockery of ourselves.
Why are we trying to manipulate and use one another when instead we can try and grow together? I'm going to put a pause on that statement because that statement, in and of itself, I know will never be possible.
It will never be possible, truthfully.
So that might be a fairy tale, very happy Twilight pri- Princess Disney
You
utter
would see it.
nonsense.
You would see it in the world. There's this saying. Forgive me. I don't know who it's by. I forgot. I'll look it up later and I'll probably clip it in the description. But there's a saying that says the problem with the world is people were made to love, things were created to be used. The problem with the world is things are being loved and people are being used.
Wow.
And that is like, I dare you. A simple, the simple thing, simple thing. Go out and just look. People would rather put their time, their effort, their energy, their money into a simple thing, an object, but they can't give love to a family member, a friend, a freaking homeless guy who's just laying there. You can't do that. And most of these people to claim to follow a religion, you can't do that and you follow a religion. One thing that all of the, one thing that all of these religions have in common is that you must love people. You must love one another. You must be capable of showing love.
So at the end or the closing chapter or closing phrase or saying or quote is we should strive to work on ourselves and better ourselves before we move forward and well after bettering ourselves becoming better people we should then move on to bettering others helping others and continue and start a new cycle.
I can make that a lot simpler. Judge yourself and take care of yourself. Judge your house, take care of your house before you go outside and judge other people and judge the world for what it is.
So yeah, that will be all for
That
tonight.
was a bit stuffy. It's just, yeah, like, it's frustrating, honestly. It's really frustrating. The
It
question
truly
that
is.
sits on my mind all the time is why do we do what we do? Why do we put ourselves through all of this when it was never necessary? Why do we have to kick someone when they're down instead of helping someone up? Why do we do this? I honestly don't understand it, but yes, that's all. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. Um, Comment down below if there's anything you would like us to touch up on. Um, Please give justified criticism, please. I'm not,
Yeah.
we don't want to read comments about people. Look, we already have people within our lives who can tell us what you want to tell us. We don't need that in the comments. If you want to vent because you're upset about something else and you just want to vent because we said something and now we opened the bottle cap, just put like something on top of your comment. Just type something that I'm just venting. Just do that for us, please. Then we
Yeah,
don't have.
like be straight and say, I am going to talk about my feelings.
Yes,
So
just tell us
please
what to tell us.
understand my situation.
Look, we're not biased to anything. We don't think that our opinion trumps everyone else. If you have justifiable criticism, we will look at it from your perspective and then we will try to understand how we can better improve it. But don't give no stupid comment like, "Oh, you guys are dumb." That's not helping me in any way. Yes, maybe it helped you to win some stupidity, but it's not helping us.
Yeah, like what was the point?
Like
I
you
will
just
say you are dumb and I'll give you the reason of why I say so. So if you're going to criticize us and tell us you guys are dumb, at least tell us why.
why we dumb. Yes, at least tell us why we dumb. Like give
Your
us some.
Highness, your intelligent wise man, please
Yes,
enlighten us.
yes, and don't just say you're dumb. Give like make us laugh at least. Give us like the most like hilarious insult you can think of. I didn't say
Yeah,
rude, I said hilarious. And then
like
you put the
go all
reason why
out.
you said it.
And like Mouse has mentioned about the comments, if you guys have any opinions or topics that you'd like us to touch up
Yes,
on, comments that
please.
you'd like us to read, by all means, drop it down below. And let us know. Thank
Yeah.
you guys for joining us on this
Thank you
episode.
very much.
Mouse,
Keep safe. May fortune come your way and keep working on yourself, champ. Women and men, I know you got this. Yay. It's the beginning of a new year. Let's get that resolution up. You got this, man. Just keep pushing, keep moving. We got you with the podcast. Come, let's go. So level up. Come, let's go. But yes, anyway, it's been a brilliant podcast with you, my co-presenter.
as always.
As always, yes. Next time we'll be sure to put in more jokes.
True, 100%. I think this
and
podcast was a
yes.
bit. This episode was a bit very like
Yep.
sensitive, but
Yeah, it was very sensitive. Yeah, we initially, guys, we were just gonna say, okay, we're just gonna do light topics, but then we decided to pull out RPGs and shotguns.
100% we were like, nah, we're gonna keep this light. We're not gonna get that deep. And then
Yeah,
that
it's just
happened.
we really care about these topics, so we're passionate about it, but we do not let our passion cloud our judgment and logic and not our perception of reality, but actual reality.
Yeah, 100%. We don't allow it to just like blind us completely.
And so yeah, I think we should really
Yeah,
end now.
yeah, we should
if,
definitely close for.
if you're listening to this point, my guy, just go hit the gym or go talk to your family members or just do
Yeah, like
something.
it's already ended, bro.
Yeah,
Just go.
just go do something good, my guy. Cause I promise you, you're not gonna gain any wisdom or knowledge now. We're waffling now. Just go do something good, my guy. It it costs nothing to be good. It costs you to go to hell to be evil. So yes, do something.